Hello and welcome to Who Does Roles TV. I am your host Mike B, and here we are on a sunny currently, though it's all over the show because it was snowing yesterday, so who knows. But anyway, we're in April. It's a Tuesday and I'm here. Cheers. So what are we doing here? Stuff, the usual stuff. What have we played?
What's Mike played?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. The last couple of weeks of Friday night games, I've abstained because they've basically been playing Rocket League or some other shite. So I spent some time painting some Star Wars minis. There we go. We were painting some of these, getting some of the Imperial Assault minis all painted up, ready for maybe the end of lockdown potentially. Maybe. So I'll be doing that. A bit of that, bit of crafting, you know, bit of that. It's quite nice to do, quite serene, quite nice. The missus joined me. She was building some caravan or something. So that was happening. So yeah, didn't really play much. Played a bit of Hearthstone. We did a little bit of this, but other than that, really, I've kind of just gone, ugh, I can't be dealing with that. After the trauma of a couple of weeks ago with the whole, just too much. So anyway, hopefully we get back to actually board game playing at some point because that'd be nice. So that's that. News-wise, not a lot going on, if I'm honest with you. I'm just trying to have a look here. I made some notes. No, there's not very much going on. So if you are unaware, which I find it hard to believe any of you would be, the UK is opening up. People are allowed out to shops, which is a terrifying prospect, firstly, for me, because I can just imagine the queues of hordes of lunatics down at Primani trying to buy some cheap t-shirts and shirts. I haven't bought clothes in like a year. It's like the luxury of it. Anyway, so yeah, there's the shops have opened. Now, what's going on? If you can get to a friendly local board game shop, if such a thing is in your vicinity, then Asmodee are offering a deal at the moment. If you go in and you buy products, you get the receipt, you get it scanned, you can be entered into a draw to win. I think it's like £1,000, and also then you can also win something at a local level. So that is supporting the friendly local game shops, which is nice. So if you've got one near you, then there is a perk, an opportunity there, to go and spend your hard-earned cash that you've been sat on. Yeah, right, like board game people are sat on cash. I mean, there's online options. But if you are, and if you want to support locally, which is a cool thing to do, and there's a great many of decent board game well, there's cafes out there as well, but board game shops out there. There's a bunch of them. If you're on part of the UK gaming media, I'm talking nonsense. If you are on the Facebook group, the UK Board Game Trading and Chats Facebook group, there's a bunch of board games. You can find them from there. There's a bunch of them. That I could start listing them, then I'll miss one, and then someone will get angry at that, and then I'll be pillaged, and carnage will happen, and there'll be horribleness. So we won't do that. But anyway, there's a bunch of them out there, okay? And they're nice, mostly. I think most of them are nice. Go and throw your hard-earned shekels at some of those. Anyway, moving on from that, before I dig myself into a hole, which is likely. This weekend, the 16th of April, yes, the 16th of April, Airecan't will be happening. Be careful how I pronounce that, Airecan't. Airecant is a convention that takes place usually actually earlier in the year, but around this time. It is, in fact, I believe, holds now the prestige of being the very last board game convention that took place in the world, I think. Yeah, it pretty much was one of the last, definitely the last UK ones that took place just before lockdown happened in earnest over a year or two ago. And Charlie went to that, and it was the last one. I never went. The problem is, I do like Airecant. It's a lovely convention, really very welcoming, very, very, just that nice level of not too huge yet. But it's bloody miles away up north. It's like I feel like I'm a hobbit going on a quest to go and do it. Did it a few years ago, really enjoyed it, really liked it, I got to play loads of games. It was really, really great, and I do want to return again. Obviously, with the current restrictions of what is going on, they can't do that. So we are getting Airecant. Once again, be very careful how he says that. So this weekend, you can go along to Airecant in its current state. Airecant is founded and created by the giant of a man, a large gentleman known as Mark Barcook. He's a big man, big, huge grizzly bear of a man. Set it up. He's lovely. He's a lovely man. I won't say anything else because he could probably kill me just by staring at me. But yeah, Airecant's taking place. So, lots going on. There is kind of a bring and buy. Well, it's not a bring and buy because you can't bring in a ink. But there's a trading site on the Facebook. They've got a Facebook trading thing. You can go and put stuff up to sell and buy stuff, which is cool. There's a bunch of things going on. There is pub quizzes. There's seminars. There's lots of untidy sort of stuff. Pub things. I've said pub quiz, but there's more. Maybe more than one. I'm trying to think. Merch. That's it. You can buy merch. So if you link to there, you can buy this lovely merch. You can buy T-shirts for Airecant. They're nice, aren't they? The picture of this, the man looks like he's been surprised or maybe assaulted. I don't know. He looks troubled by his T-shirt, but they are nice. You can buy cups. I've got my old Airecant cup from a few years ago, but there's some nice Airecant ones. Very lovely colours. So you can buy all that sort of stuff. There's raffles. There's a big ass raffle with lots of prizes going on. And it's all going to NHS charities, so you can pop up some money for that and have a chance of winning some big bundles of goodness there. If you go and have a look at the site, on the Airecant site, and I'll put a link at the bottom of this video, you can go and look at that. There's lots of stuff going on. And what else are we doing this weekend? I mean, if the sun comes out, we could potentially go and sit at Pub Garden. That again seems precarious, or you can see your own garden. But if you're not doing any of those things, which, just to be honest, most of us aren't, because we've spent the entire year at home, why not spend it at home a bit more and go virtually to Airecan't? Airecan't. I keep saying it. It's going to end badly. I've just been anything else. That's it. That's really what's going on this weekend. And if you've got nothing else happening in your life, then you should do that. Even if you have stuff happening in your life, tell them all to be on. I'm off this weekend, so I will probably stick my nose in at some point over this weekend and see what is occurring. But yeah, just go and do that. That's a ramble, wasn't it? So there's that. Done. There's really not much to say. I'm filling. There's really nothing to cover. But, Airecant, good. What else? Nothing much else. So watching stuff. We finished up The Terror. Actually, me and the missus finished up watching The Terror, 10-part I think series. It was on the whole very good, really well acted, really good cast of British thefts on there. Jared Harris and all sorts of stuff. Based on the book by Dan Simmons, which I've never read. I felt it felt a little dragged out towards the end. There was a few. I mean, it starts very well. Up to episode 4 or 5, it's fairly full on. Really enjoying it. But yeah, it did feel a little bit padded in the middle. It kind of lost a little bit of its momentum. But it did round up nicely to a thing. It's fairly dark and dismal. An interesting take on what happened to that ship. We covered it last one. It was essentially a couple of 18th century cruise ships went out. Galleons, explorers went to find the Northwest Passage, and they all went wrong. Lots dead, giant mutant killer polar bear, stuff like that going on. It was an interesting take on it. I enjoyed it. It's definitely something you've not seen. It looks beautiful. It's got high production values, great cast. As I say, be prepared. It did drag a little bit towards the end, but it still was entertaining, and I enjoyed it. It was very good, and well worth a look if you're that way inclined. Then I started watching The Green Man, which is a TV series from the BBC, a 3-part series that was, I think, shown in the 90s, early 90s. It stars Albert Finney. I quite like a bit of Albert Finney. He is Maurice. He's a hotelier. He's a raconteur. He is a womanizer. He's generally a fairly despicable character, and an alcoholic. And he essentially every night will talk about all these ghosts that haunt his hotel. And then he actually starts seeing them, and you don't know whether it's to do with his alcohol abuse or actually this thing is happening, and you slowly get embroiled into this kind of, it's a weird mix. It's kind of like a 1976 comedy mixed up with quite a sort of chilling ghost story. And you're dealing with this like otherworldly ghost character, this Mr. Underhill, who I think was essentially a child molester, I think, if you look deeper into it. And he's trying to pagan rictuals and all this sort of stuff. It still looks, to personally me, so we watched the first episode, I thought it actually looked pretty good for its age. It doesn't look like your standard BBC cheap knockoff wobbly sets. It's shot mostly on location on film. It's got some actually quite gruesome special effects in there. Good cast. It is a little dated in places. The missus watched the first one and tapped out because she just felt it was a little bit too of its time. I thought it still stands up pretty good. I haven't watched it all yet again, but I do remember chuckling quite merrily at it later on as some of the shenanigans that take place. It's funny. It's this nice weird mix of genres going on. Finney's fantastic in it. He's absolutely brilliant, and he went on pretty much a few years later to go and star in Dennis Potter's last couple of TV plays, which were Karaoke and Cold Lazarus, which were fantastic, and they're really hard to get hold of now. I'd like to see them again, but I looked and they're bloody expensive, so I will wait until I can track them down at a more reasonable price range. But yeah, if any of that is of interest, it's a good watch. I picked it up on Amazon for a couple of quid on the DVD. It is very much a curio. If you saw it and enjoyed it, you might enjoy it again. That's the reason why I've dug into it. But yeah, there's Green Man, Albert Finney, watching that. We'll finish watching that at some point, but I quite liked what it is. And in Palm Springs. So yeah, with me and Mrs. on Amazon, Palm Springs, Andy Samberg's in it. It essentially is another Groundhog Day film, but it does quite a good job of essentially shortcutting all that usual setup of the scenario. We basically dive straight into it. We know what's going on. They kind of pretty much say this is a Groundhog Day situation, and it has some fun playing with that. Really enjoyed that. It was actually pleasantly surprised. Quite some good giggles. It's a bit rude. It's funny. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. I was pleasantly surprised. Aside from that, that's pretty much it, really. There's nothing else going on, is there? I just put out the video, which was my top, my 5 loves and loathes of games. There we go, that's out there now. This is dropping any minute now. Obviously, you're watching this, so this is out. And I've got some other bits. I was going to look back at my top 10 from 2019, and I think I filmed it, though I think the camera shut off in the last 5 minutes, so I might have to go back and redo that. And then some other stuff. Maybe you try and get some reviewed. Who knows? But there we go. That is this week. There is really nothing to say. There's no news. I mean, Robinson Crusoe stormed a ridiculous amount on GameFound, which I did in the other video. Essentially, pick up the retail version for 50 quid. Go and buy that. It's a perfectly decent, good game. You do not need to spend 300 quid on Robinson Crusoe. This is a fucking insane amount of money for what is a 50 quid game. And plays perfectly fine in that 50 quid box. And it is a brilliant game, just not a £300 brilliant game. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Charlie's Kickstarter's still running for Explosion High. It's not hit its funding goal yet, so you know, if you're not doing anything, go and have a look at that. I'll put the link at the bottom of the video. Go and have a look at that. Back it. Support him. He does the writing and stuff, and there's sharks and superheroes, and it's quirky and it's fun. You should probably do some of that. Aside from that, that's it. That's the entirety of what I have to say to you. Have a lovely week. I will catch up again in a week's time, I'm sure, in some capacity or another. Until then, stay safe out there and maybe play some games. Possibly. Ta-da!